Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, episode 53.
Woo! Or do we mean...
Or do we mean wheels?
Baby fucking wheels!
I'm Chris, and joining me today are...
And J-Kid!
Today's episode is brought to you by Michelob.
Enjoy a cool refreshing Michelob.
It's so awful. That would explain our behavior if anyone could possibly stomach Michelob.
I've never had it, but...
Were they really... here's the thing. They actually do say Michelob in the film.
They do. They order Michelob, and then both actors make a gross face when they sip it.
So did Michelob, give them money to be like, woohoo, we're gonna be in this great Star Trek movie? And then they saw it, and they were like, what the fuck is this?
I didn't realize Jillian... I've always noticed Shatner make a face. I didn't realize Jillian did. Which, I mean, that's her fault. She ordered it.
You could have ordered better beer, bitch.
Fucking hell.
If I'm going to guess, I'm going to say that it probably wasn't real beer in the glasses that they were drinking from, and whatever it was didn't taste good.
Yeah, no. You
don't think it was an intentional slight against Michelob?
No, I would, because it was a totally natural reaction you'd have if you drank something maybe expecting to drink beer, and it wasn't. I
don't think Kirk knows what beer tastes like, so Kirk's would make...
I know
beer of the past.
Synthahol.
I know when I expect to drink beer and end up with Michelob, I'm aghast.
She didn't order Zimas.
Had the movie been made in the early 90s, she totally would have. Anyway.
Or a Smirnoff Ice.
Anyway.
Wine cooler.
So, it's Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, the one which I believe I said in that last week, even folks that don't really know Star Trek maybe have seen. But even so, our usual procedure will follow.
Talking for way too long about the summary of the film?
Yes.
The show in question?
Yes, also that's just a weird way to phrase it.
Just do it quick.
Anyway.
Rip it off like a Band-Aid.
A big old probe heads towards Earth, fucks up some spaceships and space dock on the way and starts ionizing the Earth's atmosphere and fucking up the oceans. Meanwhile, on Vulcan, the crew of the Enterprise is getting ready to head back to Earth to face the music from everything they did back in 3.
How do you feel?
Yes, kerploding the Enterprise and fucking up the Excelsior and all that other shit. So they start heading back, but, before they get there, they get a message from the President of the Federation being like, oh god, stay away from Earth, this probe is fucking us. And
As
Spock...
probes are wont to do.
Seriously.
Yeah, poor choice of phrasing. And Spock is all like, the signal's being directed towards Earth's oceans. And Uhura is a fucking wizard and can totally make it sound like it's underwater. And oh shit, that sounds like whale song. Spock thinks this but doesn't say it, because he's a Vulcan. He then goes and confirms it's whale song. So they decide, alright, well, whales, especially humpback whales, which this one is particularly interested in, are totally dead because they went extinct 200 odd years ago. Time for time warp. They go back in time. They find out about George and Gracie, these two captive humpbacks.
Put your hands on your hips.
And bring your knees in tight.
It's the pelvic thrust that really drives you insane. Let's do the time warp again.
And now throw rice at the screen.
Yep.
That's not what happens there, but I don't know much about it.
I don't know.
I don't think anything happens there except people get up and dance. They throw toilet paper at one point.
There we go. Where the hell was I?
Oh, yeah, rice at the wedding. You're right.
Yes,
they
but
used
not
to
during
do that.
that
Well, they
scene.
actually, they don't do that anymore because it's a fucking mess that the people who clean the theaters don't want to deal with.
And then birds explode.
That's why they don't do it at weddings, yes.
That wouldn't piss off Dr. What's-her-fuck?
Jillian, yes. Thank you. That reminds me where I was. So Kirk ends up attempting to seduce the head of the Institute / apparently only tour guide they have, Dr. Jillian...
Taylor.
Marcus. Jillian Taylor Thomas.
To, get his hands on the whales. Meanwhile...
Spock gets his hands on some whales.
Yes. Meanwhile, Scotty, McCoy, and Sulu are sent to try to figure out how to build themselves a whale tank. This involves Scotty fucking with history by giving the formula for transparent aluminum to a random bald guy.
For smoking, though, which
he
is
did.
very...
It's good for him.
It's admirable.
And,
or at least he had that pin.
Sulu learns about and possibly steals a helicopter.
A Huey.
Little bag, a Huey.
I think he just got a job doing deliveries for the plexiglass place.
Maybe. And Uhura and Chekhov are sent off to steal some photons from a nuclear aircraft carrier because the strain of time warp fucked up the Klingon dilithium crystals.
Thank you, because I could not remember why they were doing that. Like, just for shits.
They were bored.
Everyone succeeds.
Yes. So, through various shenanigans, they eventually get Jillian to agree to help them find the whales, which have been transported to the ocean near Alaska. She gives them the frequency of their transponder tags. But first they have to rescue Chekhov, who was caught stealing crap from the aircraft carrier. And remember, he's a Russian, and it's 1986, so
Rusky.
awkward. So they have to disguise themselves as doctors and kidnap Chekhov and use modern medicine on him because, you know, Doc is freaking out about 20th century medicine. He helps an old lady
fucking
regrow a kidney.
Love
Which
it.
I love.
You know, they get the ship, they beam the whales up, they go forward in time, the whale sings to the probe's like, cool. And then, oh yeah, we gotta deal with the whole facing the music thing, but of course they just saved the Earth, so it'd be kind of awkward if they sent them all to space prison with Garth of Elzar, or whatever the hell his name is. So instead they, like, drop all but one charge, which really they only kept so they had an excuse to bust Kirk down to captain and give him the Enterprise A, and aren't we all happy? Whatever could the next adventure be?
Yay.
Definitely not a heaping pile of shit.
No, not at all.
But that's next week.
Thank goodness.
This week was good.
Yeah, it was
movie.
such a fun movie. This is definitely the funnest of the Star Trek films.
Despite all that, because normally I'm anti-fun, I still love this movie. I think it's my favorite.
I was just reading before this, until the 2009 reboot, this was the highest grossing Trek movie.
Yes.
I believe it.
No shit.
And I don't know how much of that has to do with the fact that monetary values have changed in the meantime.
I would assume it's adjusted
Yeah,
for
I think that's
inflation.
probably
Is it?
adjusted.
They usually do those things.
All right. I still
I
prefer
mean, that would be
four.
really impressive if it was, not adjusted though, because 1986 dollars are.
Worth a lot more than today's dollars.
Not
Sorry,
loads more, actually, because I popped onto the inflation calculator to see how much $100 in 1986 is worth today, and it's only $212.
That's still
It's
over
over-
100%.
Yeah, that's twice.
I suppose
more than
so.
twice as much.
It's 212%.
I guess
There you go.
Let's do some simple math there.
after all those conversions from 60s and late 70s money to modern money, that one was slightly less impressive.
Now, is that based on the consumer price index or based on the inflation index? Because those are different.
It's the inflation calculator, so I assume the inflation index.
Because consumer price index, because it has more to do with what you can buy with that $100.
Right. Because I was just thinking, like, I used to be able to fill up a tank, like a gas tank, for like $13 when I had my first car, and that was like less than 15 years ago, and now it's like $35 consistently.
Yeah.
But that's also like a scarcity thing, so it's not probably relevant. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
I don't know, but either way, is that a lot? Yeah. That's what the antiques guy said.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, I mean, if he had had the lenses, it would have been worth more.
You had a gripe about the antique shop scene. What's your gripe,
What's
Chris?
your problem?
That he's getting rid of his gift from McCoy, which I'd be pissed about.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it's
I would treasure everything from McCoy.
The thing is, so he,
even the STDs.
Even those. I'd name them all.
Oh, that's sweet.
weird. So
George and Gracie.
Spock says, weren't those a gift from Dr. McCoy? And Kirk goes, well, they will be again. That's the beauty of it. It's like, you're not getting them back.
Meh.
Like, do you think they're going to magically do you not understand time travel, Kirk? Yes, they will be again insofar that right now you are in the past, and a version of you will receive those. But you are already beyond that version of you.
I think what he meant was that it's a new gift in that they're getting money for them. Like, the money is them being a gift again. I don't think he means it. I don't think he means he's literally going to get them as a gift.
I mean, Kirk, linearly, they will be a gift again. I'm fairly certain that's what he means.
I don't know.
I don't
I
think
understood
Kirk
it as
Kirk
like
isn't that metaphorical.
Yeah, I don't think I gotta say we're usually the same person, but I didn't read it that way.
Though I do enjoy the possibly unintended callback, where the antique dealer says they'd be worth more if the lenses were intact. Which what McCoy specifically says in 2 is how hard it is to find them with the lenses intact.
That's nice.
And it's just the fact that he both use the phrase "with the lenses intact," because the dealer could have easily said, be worth more if the lenses weren't broken or shattered. He specifically said it the same way, so I assume it's on purpose.
Now, what's going to happen when that antiques dealer tries to sell those at auction and somebody says, I call foul because there's no way those are the glasses because I own the glasses? And then they realize that they have two literally identical pairs of glasses. Because if they were, what did you say, 18th century? So that means those glasses must already exist somewhere on Earth, right? That pair with the lenses intact.
So maybe what actually happened then is that Bones got them on a 2-for-1 sale now. So now Kirk actually has two pairs of the glasses. He just doesn't know it, so he's only gotten rid of one.
Well, here's the thing. Assuming the original pair of glasses that was already in 1986 continue and eventually come into Bones' possession and he gives them to Kirk. Well, Kirk could probably go to an antiques dealer and buy the second pair, which is the pair that he brought back to 1986.
But are broken.
But are broken. So maybe they could be a gift again because there's now actually two pairs in existence. Around, yeah. I mean, up until they go back in time. Then there's only one pair, which is the pair with the broken lenses.
And I've gone cross-eyed.
Yes. And the pair with the broken lenses are like 300 years older, so they're even more antique-y.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to time paradox ourselves in the past. Scott selling the formula for transparent aluminum is funny because in apparently either a different draft or in the novelization of the movie, he actually knows that guy is, in fact, the inventor of transparent aluminum.
Well, of course he is once he gets the formula.
Yeah, he is now. No, but apparently they did know it in a different version.
Huh.
Well, but I mean, that's the thing. They are giving the guy... I mean, that's a huge thing to change, right? I mean, material sciences for the next... I mean, do you remember they used to have those transparent soda cans?
No.
It was one specific brand of carbonated juice.
Okay.
From the early 90s that was... Well, I mean, they were plastic, but they were shaped like a soda can.
Sure.
And they had pop tops like soda cans, but they were transparent. And they were from the early 90s.
Still look it up.
And that's what when I was a little kid, I was like, oh, that's transparent aluminum because I knew that soda cans were aluminum cans, and therefore the clear ones must be transparent aluminum.
That's really cute.
So interestingly, I actually looked up transparent aluminum because I thought, what if anything, is known about this? There are actually some naturally occurring semi-transparent aluminums. I think sapphire, you said, was one of them. But also there is something that is...
Sapphires are aluminum?
One of the gemstones are technically a type of aluminum somehow.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly. I don't understand material science.
Well, aluminum... Is aluminum an element?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if it's...
A-L.
Yeah, Al.
Our buddy Al. Call me Al.
So presumably the crystal form of it would be...
Yeah.
Would be that.
But apparently there had been something that was considered a sort of transparent aluminum as early as 1980. And in 2009, this is all according to Wikipedia, so people could be lying to me. Scientists managed to actually turn regular aluminum transparent with a laser for 40 femtoseconds.
Oh.
How long is a femtosecond?
Very small.
Speaking about minuscule time periods, this is something I thought of when we were watching it. Mm-hmm. So they're going warp 9. Now,
9.6.
9.6. They're going over warp 9. Now remember, I think it's well established that warp is a logarithmic scale. So that warp 1 is specifically light speed, then warp 2 is 10 times that, and warp 3 is 10 times that, or what have you.
No.
But even if it's not, let's just say it's a linear scale, so that warp 9 is 9 times the speed of light. Let's just say that, because even though that's
but in reality, it's like a million times, right? Or
exactly.
Okay.
The Earth is, I think, 8 light minutes from the sun.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep. So here's the thing. When it shows the ship going around the sun, it takes 2 or 3 seconds probably. I would contend that if they were going warp 9, if they were going even just 9.6 times the speed of light, ignoring the fact that they're actually going millions of times the speed of light, that they would have overshot the sun in a nanosecond.
Yeah.
They would be going way too fast to actually make that turn around the sun in the way it's shown in the film. And that's what I have to say about that.
Yep. I buy it.
That's true. We've seen time and again that the speeds are inconsistent at best.
Yeah,
I remember in what's the stupid animated series one where they see
Counterclock Incident,
the backwards fucking shit.
which is going warp 36.
Yeah,
but they have plenty of time to dodge it.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Yeah, like the problem is you've got people doing the writing that don't necessarily understand the implication, or even if they understand the implication, the people making the work are dealing with dramatic needs, not realistic needs.
Yeah, it's true. And
there's definitely better ways they could have done it, though.
And is this... Was it ever established in the original series that the way you did time warp was you flew around the sun? Or was it just...
That was from Naked Time, right? Oh, was that the sun?
No, in Naked Time, the warp engines just got way...
They had to
overpowered because they had to cold start them. Really, they had to
to jump through the decaying planet or whatever.
Isn't that how they wound up in Operation Earth or whatever?
Well, in Operation,
that one, yes, that was when they purposely did a slingshot around the sun.
Well, yeah, in Assignment Earth.
That's it.
Yeah, there we go.
They did that, but then there's also Tomorrow Is Yesterday, where it's mentioned that they accidentally ended up in the 60s. But it doesn't show how.
I thought they did it on purpose again.
No, because that was the one that was originally supposed to be the
follow-up, yeah. But then I thought because they did it later, they had said, this time it was on purpose.
Either way, I don't remember them ever talking about flying around the sun being a thing they had to do.
I thought that's
how they got back from Tomorrow Was Yesterday.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Either way, I'm not buying it.
No.
But I feel like every time from here on out, they just, it's chronotons or something.
Yeah.
First Contact is like just a time portal.
Yeah, the Borg made a time portal.
I think this is like the last slingshot around the sun.
Like, really, these goddamn time travel plots, they ruin everything.
They ruin everything, but they also they open up so many possibilities. Yeah. They saved a ton of budget, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, they got to, you get to see what at the time was present-day San Francisco, which brings in fucking audience members, because they want to see that.
Yeah, everyone loves San Francisco. But here's the thing.
And Wales.
Yeah, Wales.
Everyone but Chris love Wales.
But here's the thing. I'm just saying that the fact that they make time travel a thing that you can just do...
Yeah.
Like, well, we're just going to do some time travel today. It breaks everything, because anything bad that happens... You can just be like, well, we'll just fix it yesterday. It's fine.
Yeah. Apparently, Roddenberry pitched multiple times for Star Trek 2, for Star Trek 3, probably for this one as well. He was like, I want the movie to be, they go back in time because I forget who prevented Kennedy from getting shot, and they had to go back and make sure Kennedy actually does get shot.
It's just sitting on the edge of forever.
It's just sitting on the edge of forever.
Except with Kennedy.
But with JFK, and they sent him away and said, no, we're going to do our own fucking script.
Kirk becomes the man on the grassy knoll.
Well, the thing
Spock did.
But he's also, but he falls in love with JFK, so it really makes everything awkward.
I feel like having to make sure Kennedy got assassinated was already the plot of something once.
It was a Quantum Leap episode.
Was it?
Well, it wasn't make sure Kennedy gets assassinated. It was he quantum leaped into Lee Harvey Oswald, and he thought his mission was to prevent Kennedy from getting assassinated. But as he was in Oswald's body, and this has never happened before, I don't think, on Quantum Leap, he gradually started becoming Lee Harvey Oswald and found that he ended up lining up the shot to shoot Kennedy, and then at the last second he leapt into a Secret Service agent that was running alongside the car right before the shots, and then he managed to save Jackie, and then Al, and then Sam's to Al, he's like, oh man, I fucked up. I was supposed to save Kennedy, but Kennedy still got shot. He's like, no, it wasn't Kennedy you were here to save, it was her. And the whole point was that it was Jackie that he had to save.
That's complicated.
I don't know if that's what you were thinking of, but that's
a thing.
That's a related time travel JFK story I'm aware of.
Yeah, although that would have come later. I swear there was I want to say there was an episode of the Time Tunnel or something like that.
No, maybe.
Time Tunnel.
What even is that?
That was a 60s show. Yeah, either way, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
for a Star Trek movie.
More time travel that I can name. There was a Star Trek novel that had Roberta Lincoln, our good friend from Assignment Earth.
Oh no.
She had to go back to get Chekhov's phaser and comm that he left because those would have fucked up the past.
I was kind of wondering about those actually.
Yeah, so she had to get them from Area 1 before they could be studied and found to be from the future.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe Gary 7 just cleans up after them after this movie.
Good for Gary.
Like
Glad he's getting work.
Like he gets the communicator and the phaser back, and he murders the plexiglass guy.
No, I love the plexiglass guy. He just quit smoking.
Yes, no, but he gets him hooked again, and then he dies.
No,
it's a long-term assassination.
Yeah, no, there's lots of.
I got a new kidney.
There's so much contamination. Like they should have they should have added a few charges to their court-martial because they've totally fucked the past
They
up.
didn't have to decloak to get the whalers to go away.
No.
They just had to beam the whales aboard.
They just wanted to scare them because they were dickheads.
Yeah.
Although the whalers are dickheads. But yeah.
But now they can go back and say, there's fucking UFOs.
Taking a woman from the 80s into the future?
And a stupid, dumb, bad actress woman?
Well, that too. But I feel like that alone is really gonna fuck shit up. Unless, she was destined to die or commit suicide from sadness over the whale situation.
Or her destiny was always to go to the future.
Well, that doesn't make sense. If her destiny was to always go to the... Well, never mind.
No, her destiny
to quote Miles O'Brien, I hate temporal mechanics.
Look, we're going to be sitting here all day. We're going to be making diagrams with straws.
Yes. But anyway, about this movie.
This movie. I love this movie.
It's a good movie. Shame we didn't have Eddie Murphy.
I know, I was reading about that.
Who would Eddie Murphy have been?
Eddie Murphy's a big Trekkie, and he was getting fucking big in, 1986 times. And he wanted in, and they wrote him a whole role. He would have been like a crazy professor who believes in aliens and shit, sees the Enterprise crew come back, and is the only one who thinks it's actually aliens. So they had they wouldn't have had Gillian Taylor. They would have had Eddie Murphy.
Way better.
And they
Eddie Murphy as the Nutty Professor?
A little bit. Very close. He ended up backing out for reasons.
I mean, I'm sure at least one of them was, like you said, he was starting to get big. They
Yeah.
probably couldn't afford him anymore.
I don't even know if the money was involved. I think it was that they didn't want to oversaturate their brand or...
They already had one black guy in the movie in Cartwright.
And two black women who had lines.
Yeah, so that was the problem.
Yeah, the 80s.
studio was like, whoa, wait. It's
See,
like how on Walking Dead, they can only have X number of black people on screen at a time.
Yep, that's why they kill one off a season.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's network rules regardless. That's interesting, though, because I had heard about the Eddie Murphy thing. It was less that... I heard part of the problem was the character was just too... I guess the issue was the way they'd had it written, the character was too repetitive. He kept just missing them, and it was, just not... didn't work.
That's silly. Yeah, I know when they handed off the script to Nicholas Meyer, because Nicholas Meyer's back, and he's pretty good. They said, we need help rewriting this. And he said, what went wrong? And they're like, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was a problem. But you can fix it. And he did.
Although no one thought, wait a minute, why is this woman leading the tour group when she's apparently one of the associate heads of the institution?
Well, I wondered that. I wondered that right out loud.
Which I appreciate because I've somehow never thought of that before. Never occurred to me, why is someone this important doing the tour?
Can we
Because
talk
she's
about...
a piece of shit.
Can we just acknowledge
And she hates
the eclectic
pigeons.
group of people that were on the tour? There were two nuns. There was an airline pilot or a sea captain.
He could have also just been military.
I think he was Navy.
He could have been military, in their dress.
There was
black and white.
There was
Navy.
an enlisted army man with a little cap. There was a black golfer with the pom pom hat,
a jaunty pom pom cap.
There was maybe he's singing to that man.
Yeah, there were a
the
couple
hero
of old
of the
ladies.
film.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
She should get top billing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was the group that they had going on that tour was
I mean, the only thing that I think is weird about it for me is because we're a port city, and you do have times where ships will come in, and you will occasionally see groups of Navy men from actually when I was last month I saw just a group of guys from I think it was the Italian Navy, someone said, because an Italian ship was in. So that in of itself is not inherently weird. The only odd part is that it's like one Navy guy and one Army guy. And it's like, because normally you see them in groups when there's like people on leave or in an area, and it's just like, it's like, what are these two guys? They're like the nerds of their various outfits, and they couldn't find anyone to go with them.
Yeah. I mean, there is a big Army base. I don't know. Obviously there's Alameda.
Yes.
There's also the Presidio in San Francisco, which is a big place.
Alameda, I knew that. I knew it was in Alameda.
Yeah. And that's another thing I don't get.
What?
So they have somebody on the ship who was born there.
Oh, Sulu.
And yet they send the Russian and where's Uhura from? She's from. They said where
Africa.
she's
She's from the United African.
Okay, so they never specified where in Africa, just Africa.
If there's a specification, I don't know it.
It was never in the show.
But she
certainly.
speaks-
She speaks Swahili.
So.
Yeah, that's a huge...
Right.
Yeah,
We've talked about that as well. It doesn't narrow it down very much.
But at any rate, so they send two people who are not from San Francisco to go find this place in San Francisco. It would have been much smarter to just send Sulu.
On the other hand, literally all of them went to college in San Francisco.
This is also true.
And according to McCoy, I think it was McCoy, one of them said as they were flying over the city, doesn't look all that different. So apparently World War III didn't fuck up San Francisco too badly.
Who would bomb San Francisco? That's why.
It's just World War III. Everywhere was getting bombed. But either way, apparently somehow Uhura and Chekhov both spent God knows how long in Frisco and never figured out where Alameda was.
Maybe they changed the town name.
Especially since it's, like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's basically directly on the other side of the Bay Bridge. Like, it's...
That I don't know, but maybe.
Yeah, you can see it from San Francisco across the bay.
Well, there you go.
Not too hard.
Speaking of Sulu being from San Francisco, they cut a scene, which is why Sulu probably has less to do in the movie than any of the other ones, even though they did a pretty good job of giving everybody something to do. Sulu had a cut scene where he was supposed to meet his great-grandfather by accident. Like as a little kid runs up to him and says, "You look just like my uncle." And they talk for a while and they realize, oh, this kid's Sulu's great-grandpappy. But the scene wasn't working because the child actor was getting, like, really intimidated and couldn't fucking act. And Takei blames the stage mom for being a fucking cunt and a half.
Well,
That's too bad.
I guess she spanked him in the middle of the fucking thing.
Oh.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's shitty.
Bitch.
Stage parents are the worst.
They're bad.
But speaking of people who couldn't act...
Jillian Marcus?
Catherine Hicks?
Catherine Hicks, our second Seventh Heaven sighting of the movies.
Yep.
Yeah, she was atrocious.
No, not good.
She wasn't great.
I have to say, the scene where she runs over an entire flock of pigeons was something special. Like twice actually, like because there's early in the movie when she's just rolling down the street, not looking in front of her, talking
she could have run
Kirk,
on anybody,
and she's clearly running over a flock of pigeons. Like it's evident from what you can see on screen.
Yeah, the blood and the feathers flying everywhere.
Oh no, there's just a flock of pigeons in front of the car,
and you see them fly away,
and she's just rolling over them. So I mean, like, what else is happening?
I am surprised. You'd think a movie would like try to sort of have shooed them away before they started filming, because they would cause a continuity nightmare. Just this flock of birds.
I think it was intentional, because then later, when she discovers that the whales have been released early, and she leaves the museum in a huff,
she runs a bunch of more pigeons.
There's another flock of pigeons that she almost drives her truck into.
What is it about her car that just attracts pigeons?
I don't know. Also, that guy watering the sidewalk.
And the other guy mopping the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Those sidewalks, man.
They get dusty in Frisco. It's
Yeah,
it's the Old
true.
West.
They're on an aquarium. People like traipse fish guts all over the place.
Maybe as all the
Feed them
pigeons,
whales.
were on purpose because Nimoy was trying to do a John Woo thing. You're just slow motion diving, dual wielding phasers.
God, speaking of Nimoy being a terrible college art student, how about that fucking hallucination computer graphic?
Oh my fucking
Mount
God.
Rushmore-esque LSD trip
With the random, like, at the end where it's like suddenly like a lake with like grass and cat's tails.
Figure diving into the water.
Man's fall from grace.
Like
I
it
don't
does.
even know.
It does just feel like a fucking art student film. It's so... And again,
But
no
what did it mean?
other time that they've done time travel.
Because they've done time travel a couple of times.
And it's never been like, it's never knocked everyone out and given hallucinations. It's sometimes been like, oh god, hang on, things are getting shaky.
They even do it a second time in this movie,
And they're
no
fine.
one's affected.
Yeah, it's
Maybe it was because of the Klingon settings and the Klingon ship.
So when
But
the
again-
Klingons do this, they get this shit?
The way-
No, but their bodies are different than ours, so like their bodies would be okay, but
Was Spock okay? Caitlin, is Spock okay?
how do you feel?
How do you feel?
How do you feel?
I feel fine.
We get another Robin Curtis as Savick sighting.
In the original script, she's preggers. They
Oh.
cut it.
Well,
I don't know why.
They fucked a bunch of times. I mean, she'd have to be.
Yeah, they were there like 2 months. She was fucking
I mean-
him constantly.
Oh well, no, I meant her and Baby Spock.
I mean,
but-
if she wasn't ovulating, she doesn't have to be.
Well, also, like,
What ovulating? They were finger banging. I don't know how it works. I assume Vulcans are like Kif's people in Futurama, and she just, because she felt loved, started to reproduce. I don't fucking know.
she's budding again.
Yeah.
That's why
Spock just, like, released his
Spores.
Yeah, I'm too glad we get rid of Savick though, because I got very sick of Savick in 3.
Well, Spock will never be rid of Savick.
Ooh.
It's gonna be child
I'm
support.
gonna call him
payments,
every
this,
day.
and
They almost brought
when
her
are you
back.
coming to pick your kids up? That.
They almost brought her back for 6.
Ugh.
as Varys.
Valeris.
Valeris.
Oh, you mean
Oh,
the
the
actress, not
actress?
the character.
No, but they would have.
No, it would have been
Savick
Oh, okay.
play the.
She would have
part
filled the role that Valeris
Oh, and
fills.
they didn't just recast the role again? They actually come up with a new fucking character?
If they had
Star
brought
Trek.
if they had brought in Robin Curtis, that would have ruined that movie. Robin Curtis in that character? No way.
She didn't manage to ruin this movie. She wasn't
Well, she was
in it long
only in it
enough.
for 10
Yeah, you're
seconds.
right.
Wow,
Yeah.
you guys with your hate of random
I
Star
actually
Trek
didn't
people.
really hate
Who do you
Savick
hate
that
more,
much.
Robin Curtis or Gillian Anderson, or
They're
whatever her
both
name is?
terrible.
Jillian Taylor.
No, I don't like Savick more.
I don't know. It's a hard choice. I think I actually like Savick more than
No, I'm the other
Gillian
way.
Thomas, because
Gillian
Gillian
Taylor.
Gillian Taylor Thomas.
See, Gillian Taylor, I give she's just acting like an 80s actress. This is how 80s actresses look and feel and act.
Especially in comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and she was
Especially in
honestly,
comedy,
to her credit, she was acting opposite Shatner for most of the movie. So she didn't have a lot.
You
She
gotta
was getting more from the fucking whale puppets than she was from Shatner.
I love the whale puppets.
Oh, me too.
They're
You've
very
got to
cute.
match your partner's lead, and his lead was Shatner.
Yeah. Yeah, Spock mind melds with a whale.
Hot.
Discovers the whale's having a baby fucking
whale
whale, dude.
kid.
This goes to prove our theory that Spock has like extra lungs because he held his breath for fucking ever in that tank.
It's true, they were talking for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe they're singing to that man.
Then we also learned at the end of the film that Kirk also has an extra lung. because-
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
he holds his
visual.
breath for a while.
Long
Yeah.
time. He's got to get out again, and that's the hard part.
They managed to glue his piece down, mostly.
Yeah?
I don't believe it's a piece, but all right.
No, it's-
I don't know. if
that
it
does
is.
make it more evident as a
I mean, he is,
lot of comb over,
I mean,
though.
we've now come to full. Kirk has black hair, which it's either a piece or they're dying.
He's
it.
going to be dying. He's
Oh, yeah,
probably
no,
starting
he-
to go gray.
Yeah, he's one of those people, like, the split second he saw his first gray hair, he was getting dye jobs done.
No, not the first one. He probably pulled the first one out, but
can
shortly
tweeze for a while.
after.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I plot hole for a second here?
Please?
Yes.
Why the fuck does the fish tank need to be transparent? Why couldn't they just weld some steel plates in? The whales are only in there for an hour.
At most.
At
Want to
most.
make sure that they get transported correctly? They probably needed to be able to confirm that they were in there.
It just
You
seems
can
like
put a video
so
camera
much
in there.
extra effort to like they had to like
They had to get some kind of material
Well,
no
yeah,
matter what.
material was going to happen
yeah,
either
but
way.
steel,
and for someone who,
like they could just like
well, yeah, but someone who trades in steel might not care as much about a
they
thinner.
could have stolen some steel. They could have probably taken steel deck plates from parts of the ship they weren't using. Like there's plenty of places they could have like.
But then we
They could
wouldn't
have
get.
killed those trash men and just converted their truck.
But
Yeah.
then we wouldn't have got Mr. Scott's adorable interaction with the computer.
I understand
And this
that.
movie would
I
be
just,
diminished.
I just think that
Captain, there be whales.
requiring that it had to be plexiglass
And plus, they wanted us to be able to see the whales and see
Yeah,
the
it's not good artistically.
dipshit interacting with the whales after they're on the ship.
But it doesn't mean it's not a plot hole.
Oh, that's fair.
It's still a plot hole because,
fine.
because if I was Scott, I'd be like, aye, Captain, I've welded your floors into the walls. There be walls here.
Captain, we're literally not using any of this storage space. I could just lock the door and we could use the whole thing as a tank.
There you go.
Though I actually have a question, may also be a plot hole. There were shitloads of, like, structural support beams in there. What do they do with the structural support beams?
Well, they became the frames.
In the middle of the whale now.
No, well,
That's what I mean. They couldn't have fit a whole whale
Some
in
of
there.
them were retained to create the frames for
Right, but did they take the rest of them down?
Scott...
Maybe, yeah.
They were load-bearing pillars, probably.
Well, see, then he just...
He turned gravity off.
Then...
What a terrible cargo bay on that ship, because of those pillars, you can't even really bring in anything that big.
You can't even park a fucking whale in that thing.
Yeah.
Shit. But right? Am I wrong?
No, that's a good point. That's a really good
I was
point.
thinking that as we were watching, like, during the beginning when he was looking at it. I was like, you can't fit a whale in there, bro. You just said you needed, like, 60 feet. Those columns are, like, every 20 pillars.
I was also wondering, so the whales are in captivity at that aquarium. Could humpback whales even live in captivity like that?
I doubt it.
Well, no, she says that they can't.
But they
part
grew,
of the reason.
They grew from baby ones, though. They've had them a while.
Baby fucking whales?
Baby fucking whales, kid.
Well, it's probably kind of like how we used to think killer whales didn't know how to live past 10 because we kept them in SeaWorld. They probably were able to live there up to a point and would then die well before their time.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just not enough room for them to move around, really.
Well, what about the whale actors
had
in the movie? Like, where were those? Like, the actors that played the whales?
The puppets?
No, there was real whales, too,
The
right?
stock footage at the end?
Yeah. Oh, that was just stock footage?
Wait, what? Which
whales
are you talking about? Because
none of the whales that we see in the movie are real whales.
Except for the ones at the end,
the
which
one
are
that
stock
breaches
footage.
and those one that spouts at the end. All the other ones are these like really nicely made puppets.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I knew obviously that Spock wasn't swimming with the whales, but
Wheels.
Yeah, they made really great puppets. Apparently, it even fooled a lot of. I want to say PETA, but it probably wasn't PETA.
Well, they're idiots.
Maybe the ASPCA. Somebody was saying like, you guys are getting way too close to these whales, and they had to be like, they're puppets. We're fine.
whales smell pretty bad.
They probably do. I do love the idea, though, of them
Cobras.
actually having whale actors, and they just have these enormous tanks painted up to look like trailers, even the stars on the door and everything.
Well, no, I figured it was like, like they have dog and cat and horses.
Those things are much smaller than humpback
easier
whales.
to keep.
Yeah.
You can also train them.
But anyway, I'm sure that, well, first of all, that penned part that we saw was only part of the...
Yeah, but
because they had space out in the bay. It was probably
even
plenty
that
of room
amount,
in the bay.
because that's probably like the size of
So are there
2 blocks,
Are there
and that's
any
still
humpback whales in captivity?
no.
There are.
I can't imagine there would
The
be.
largest animals in captivity, I'm pretty sure, are orcas, and even they don't necessarily belong in captivity.
They do
Well,
not.
no, and then it doesn't SeaWorld...
Unless there's like an injured baby one or something.
Yeah.
SeaWorld has said they've stopped doing it, or are going to stop doing it, right? Something like that. I feel like after
Blackfish.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. I was like, the documentary. Yeah, after Blackfish
Free
came
Willy.
out, I feel like
Speaking of whales, Harv Bennett really wanted the last scene where the whales are communicating with the probe to have subtitles and let us know what they said. And Nimoy fought hard against pretty much everyone to be like, no, that would destroy the movie.
Yeah, but
Thank God.
we already know what they said. The whales were like, yo, new probe, who dis?
Really, though, thank goodness. That was the best call Leonard Nimoy ever made.
One of the few good ones, really, because he's made some bad calls in these films.
Well, again, I mean, I brought this up before. Continuity issues again. Like, the bridge of the Klingon ship is completely different.
They've been there 2 months. They've,
they
put
rebuilt
wallpaper
it.
up.
But like, that thing, it would be one that... It actually looks... The bridge in the last version was, like, cleaner and neater and better lit. This version looks a bit more what we now think of as the Klingon aesthetic. And also, it's not like they changed stuff around to make it easier for the human crew, because there's even still plates up where you can see Klingon writing. Like, they just wanted to look more alien, but the problem is this massive continuity issue from one. I mean, Christopher Lloyd's chair in 3 is like on this huge pedestal. Now Kirk is level with Sulu and Chekhov, and suddenly there's these stations behind him that, and again, the color scheme is completely different. It's just...
Listen, Spock made that his love pad with Savick, and they had to redecorate it so that he'd get in the mood.
No. There you go. That's your explanation right there.
Done.
Terrible. Terrible, just continuity breach.
Like that you're filling plot holes by filling plot holes.
Here's something that I think I expressed this theory before, but I'll restate it since we're talking about the movie.
Please.
That the Enterprise A is in fact just the rechristened Yorktown, which was the ship that was going to deploy a makeshift solar sail.
What? I don't remember any of this.
Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, the whale probe is approaching Earth.
Yep.
The first ship that it encounters is the Saratoga.
Yeah, a Miranda class.
Miranda class, they get their shit fucked.
So they just turned, the probe just turned all their power and shit off, right?
Did
it kill everyone too, or no?
Yes.
Well, yeah, because if your power's off, that means
life
your
support.
life support's gone.
That's true.
No life support.
Whoops.
The next ship that we see that's affected is the Yorktown, and that's where the captain calls up, and he's like not looking at the camera, but he's like, "We're going to deploy a makeshift solar sail, and hopefully that'll work." It didn't work.
Whoops.
It didn't work. Everybody on the ship died.
Whoops.
So they after
scrub the skeletons out.
So they tow it back to port, mop up the floor, get all the bodies off, give it a new paint job, rename it USS Enterprise, put 1701A on it, and
have to recenter all those letters now.
I know.
Oof.
Yeah, it's tough. So they go to Kirk, and then they're like, "All right, Kirk, we gave you a new ship." And he goes on the ship, and he's like, "Why does it smell?
What's
kinda
that weird
gross
smell?"
in here?"
Oh, no.
So I looked into that a little. Roddenberry certainly agrees with you.
Really?
Does
He believed the Enterprise A was a rechristened Yorktown.
Jesus, you've gone full Roddenberry.
I don't know if
That's
he
not good.
agrees that everyone died. From what I've read, because it's never confirmed either way of anyone. Because, maybe the solar sail worked. We don't know. Blah, blah, blah. It's generally agreed upon that this is the one Star Trek movie with no confirmed or known deaths.
Yeah, I guess they're not confirmed deaths, but
Yeah, and I think
Assume.
people just kind of figure, because the movie is otherwise so lighthearted, you just kind of assume maybe everyone was fine. I mean, I don't know why they then took the Yorktown away from that poor bastard. Not his fault.
Although that's interesting. I didn't know that was always just sort of my thing. I had no idea that
Yeah.
Roddenberry agreed with me there.
Yeah.
Because it does make it makes sense that it would be a rechristened ship, because it's not like they would have just been building another Constitution class.
Just for
Right.
shits and giggles
Right.
around
I
the
mean,
same
they had
time.
they had the Excelsior there, and
Yeah.
and even if they were building a new Constitution class, it probably would have already had a name.
Yeah. Hey, last minute change. They actually walk onto the bridge and you can see they've like crossed out the old name in
Right.
Sharpie, written it in USS.
V'ger.
Well, there is precedent. Well, there's going to be precedent. I mean, it happens again in DS9. The USS Sao Paulo gets rechristened the Defiant.
Yeah.
So
What I like too, very briefly at the end, the cameo of bridge sounds from the 60s.
yeah,
Like, if you listen closely, there's very 60s style like beeps and pings that they haven't had in any of the movies and don't actually retain outside of that scene.
What scene?
The very end when they're briefly on the bridge of the Enterprise A and taking off.
That scene, yes.
Yeah, they're like
I
underneath.
forgot there was a scene after being on the shuttle.
Yeah. After underneath more sort of movie style bridge noises, there are a few little 60s style pings and whistles.
yeah. We got a brief glimpse of what may have been Maress at the court-martial scene.
I think it was a boy. It looked like a boy cat to me.
But yes, there were.
Really?
There were a couple of cat people, and it wasn't wearing a dress. It didn't seem.
There was a brown cat person that looked
Yes.
like that would look to me like Maress.
Well, they don't at this point. Starfleet uniforms don't have skirts for women, so
they all have pants.
Oh, I was gonna say, what are you talking about? They've always had skirts for women. Uhura used to wear the fuck out of skirts.
yes, but she hasn't since.
Well, allegedly, I think they were just short, really short shirts.
With a diaper.
The diaper, yeah. Poor Uhura. Yeah, see, that's actually, for Uhura, the motion picture, outfit was almost an improvement because at least her whole ass wasn't hanging out.
That's fair. Still a terrible uniform.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, no, someone on the production heads, because I looked into this for the animated series, those were supposed to be, if not Maress and a friend of hers, certainly her species.
Oh, nice.
So they are specifically whatever the fuck her people
Maress people.
are
Do
called.
we ever find out what they're called in series?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so
So
either.
now we just need to spy Arax. We haven't seen him or his people.
God,
No
not
one
Eric's.
wants to. They threw them all into the sun.
I'm telling you, fourth Kelvin movie. That's what they're going to have instead of Chekhov. CG fucking
Unstoppable fuck
mocap Arax
gonna
voiced by
Jar Jar Binks.
Okay, but if they're gonna do that, they need a close up on his non-moving mouth while he laughs.
Oh, he'd be voiced by the guy from Eastbound and Down.
Well, it sounds like a great idea, babe.
Well, no, it's supposed to be a bad idea. That's why I said it, because bringing in Arax is a fucking abysmal idea, and if Simon Pegg does it, I will be very disappointed in him.
With his weird tongue,
Yeah.
kind of. Oh god.
3 tongues. No, Jillian at the end when we're at the council thing, she has fucking latched on to 23rd century culture like immediately. Like everything that happens, she just takes in stride. Like, oh, I'm from the future. Sure. Oh, here's my ship. Okay. Oh, we're going in, slingshot on the sun. She takes everything so well. Like she's got to be insane.
She's definitely insane. Do you see the look on her face all the time? Can you imagine that actress just goes around looking like that?
Oh, that's just her face.
She
Caitlin.
totally dissed Kirk at the end there, though, where he's like, "Hey, we never finished
Let's
that
see the
pizza.
universe."
Let's go eat some Michelob." And she's like, "Actually, I gotta go to my ship because now I'm a Starfleet or something."
Here's what I don't get. Shouldn't she be stationed on Earth to help them with the whales, since there are probably literally no cetacean biologists on Earth anymore?
Yeah, but if in the 23rd century.
Well, here's the thing: there's probably tons of whale people. Like they don't say that all whales are extinct, just that humpbacks.
whales, yeah.
So like she probably gets her. She's like, "I'm the whale expert," and there's like people that are literally talking to whales.
People who are literal whales.
Yeah, there's a whale.
Like, actually, no. We'll just let Officer Shamu take care of George and Gracie.
There is, we will see an intelligent... They're more like seal people, but there is an intelligent underwater species in Enterprise.
For a second,
Their ships are full of water.
As we know from the blueprint for the Enterprise D, there are cetacean navigation labs
Yeah.
on the Enterprise D. So clearly, whales are a hugely important thing.
See, I thought all whales were extinct, but they specifically wanted humpbacks because that seemed to be the call the probe was using. Which doesn't really make sense because they said that part of the reason the communication existed in the first place was because whales were on Earth earlier than humans. Which, fine, but they sure as hell weren't humpbacks. So, I mean, even if the language remained relatively consistent, the species probably didn't matter that
Well, who knows
much.
how recently the probe came by to swing over and say hi.
Well, I also
Would have just been every 10, nope, not 10, maybe every 200 years.
Maybe.
Well, is that the thing? Because the way they explain it is kind of weird. Because they're like, oh, they sent the probe to find out why they hadn't heard from the whales. And I'm like, what are the whales? Do they have like a subspace radio underwater?
I mean, apparently their cries can make it into space somehow, so yes.
Yeah, maybe their
Space
songs
is a
just...
fucking vacuum. There's
That's
no
what I mean. They're
so
transmitting
maybe-
somehow.
So maybe they left like the equivalent of like a baby monitor hanging in space, like a
baby
satellite.
fucking whale monitor.
Baby fucking wheel monitor kid, and they were communicating through that thing. Because if they were able to get their whale song out into space, so they put it where they could get it. And then when all the whales were dead, they were like, something's wrong. They're not answering. Maybe our tech is fucked up. We're going to have to go check this out. Our pen pals aren't getting back to us. That seems legit. This is not my actual theory, by the way. I'm just trying to make excuses for bullshit.
They ran late because of the Borg. Wish I was kidding.
Who did?
So the probe actually meant to come to Earth much, much sooner. But it got waylaid when it was attacked by a Borg cube and had
Waylaid?
Yes.
By a cube?
And had to self-repair for a couple of centuries.
So the
this
cylinder
from?
was waylaid by a cube.
Yes.
Nice.
It's from a follow-up novel called Probe.
Okay, but
Clever.
is the follow-up novel canonical?
God, no. I just had to bring it
No,
up
it's
because
not
people
conical. It's
fucking
cylindrical.
Sorry, you're right. Cylindrical.
love shoving the Borg into everything now, and it's fucking annoying.
I
So
love
do you
the
think
Borg,
the Borg
though.
would assimilate whales? And what would a whale Borg drone look like.
Warg.
Because we only ever see Borg really going after humanoid species, except for species 8675309 or whatever it is from
8675309.
the fluidic space people.
Yeah.
They weren't really humanoid, but the Borg tend to go after humanoids.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, where's
they look
Where's
for
the
people-
Borg Horta?
Those with intelligence and stuff, though, yeah?
Yeah, Horta's intelligent.
And the whales
Horta
are
doesn't know
specifically
grammar. Fuck
intelligent.
Horta.
Wow, poor Horta.
Not as smart as dolphins, though.
Oh man, assimilated weird squidgy shapeshifter things from TAS.
There you go.
I liked those things. Those were great. Scotty's buddies.
No, those are different things.
No, not the slugs.
I thought you were talking about the
Black-
slugs.
the plant.
The Vendorians?
The plant creatures?
No, not the plant creatures. The one that disguised
Vendorian.
himself as the woman's old lover and all that.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Vendorians, as Ames said.
Either way.
The what?
The Borg.
Remember the weird
The Zoidberg monsters.
it shapeshifted into an extra bed and Doc didn't notice.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Can we also talk about
Can we?
why Starfleet headquarters windows are made out of glass and not transparent aluminum?
Or
They're
anything
dumb.
that
Like
doesn't shatter like that.
Yeah.
It's not even safety glass, apparently.
Yeah, it's just like someone's gonna get a bad cut.
Yeah.
From that shattered window.
Yeah,
Gotta
no,
give
it's,
medical something to do.
Like they have transparent aluminum. Obviously,
Maybe they
ship windows
don't.
are made out of transparent aluminum.
Maybe
I'm
they
pretty sure.
changed the past and transparent aluminum doesn't exist now.
Womp womp.
Well, that's true. Except we see the window break before they go back to the
That's
past.
true.
And after. No, that would have been great. Is if we saw the window break before they go back to the past. When they come back, the window
It's
doesn't
intact.
break.
That's good. I like that.
And then they have and then Cartwright's like, thank God we got those new transparent aluminum windows installed.
So, speaking of medical, apparently this was Majel Barrett's last appearance as Chapel.
Oh.
So she will appear, obviously, again in Star Trek, but this is the last we will see of Christine Chapel.
She appeared for 2 seconds.
Yes.
I didn't even know she was there if you guys hadn't said it.
Yep.
I recognized Rand more quickly
Which
than
I
recognized
completely-
Yeah, I
Chapel.
did not recognize her.
I didn't
Rand.
I missed both of them. You guys
She
did
looked
great.
totally different. To me.
Yeah.
Totally
She's got the
different.
same
She looked
face.
totally
But
different.
this
than
time she
did.
was fucking Rand, not the random character from
Oh,
2
yeah.
or 3
we didn't
that
really,
she
we didn't really
was
talk
or
about
whatever.
that.
Oh, no, we didn't.
But yeah, I am. She may not have been credited as Rand in Star Trek 3, but the character was definitely supposed to be Rand.
No, it wasn't. Because Grace Lee Whitney, I read her autobiography, and she specifies, I was just playing a random person looking out a window.
Well, then why feature the character? Why feature that?
Because they wanted to give Grace Lee Whitney work.
Then they could have just called it Rand, because there's no reason why some rando lady standing in Space Dock would be that upset about the Enterprise. Like, only Rand would be like, oh my god, Jim Kirk, what have you done? But whatever. That pissed me.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
That's silly. I know she makes it back in Generations, I think, quickly.
She's
Yeah.
in 6 as well. I know that.
Six? I know nothing
Yeah,
about
she's in
6.
six.
She's in 6, yeah. And she's definitely Rand there.
Yeah.
She managed to escape 5, which
I
none
think
of
so.
the rest of us will.
No, not even David Warner,
Yeah,
who was in
David
5
Warner.
and 6.
It's different characters.
Yes, but that's the
Sulu,
future.
Sulu just quits the Enterprise after 5. He's like, fuck this.
Goes off with his helicopter buddy from the past.
Yeah.
Their
I wanna
love
see
was
their
so
adventures,
cute,
too.
so sweet and pure.
Like, how else would he have gotten that helicopter from the guy, if not wooing him?
Well, here's the thing, right? The helicopter apparently was owned by the plexiglass company to begin with.
That I'm not clear on.
Well, the helicopter was in the back, because there was signs for Co or whatever.
Oh, there were, okay.
Oh, I missed that detail.
all over the place, and I think even the helicopter itself said Plexicorp on the side.
Okay.
I think it did too, actually.
So it was clearly their helicopter, which at first I'm like, well, why would a plexiglass factory need a helicopter? But then I'm like, well, I guess if they're delivering giant sheets of plexiglass that need to be lowered into spaceships regularly, then okay.
You'd be surprised how often that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is a stretch, but if you ever did need to deliver big sheets of plexiglass to the roof of a tall-ass building...
Yeah, I feel like every time I've ever seen that, HVAC equipment being installed on the roofs of buildings, they were always using cranes.
Yeah.
Seems like a helicopter is I bet you just I quit smoking guy was just I really need a helicopter. I'm buying a helicopter.
Look, I quit smoking, I'm saving a shitload of money now, and I gotta do something with all this pent-up energy.
Yeah.
Get in a helicopter.
So did Sulu steal the helicopter, or did he just maybe that was part of the deal that McCoy and Scotty made with the guy. Was like, okay, we're gonna get all this free plexiglass,
and we're gonna take your helicopter ourselves.
And free use of your helicopter for a day.
We got a pilot. No, we can't explain why you can't use your own pilot.
We got a pilot. Oh no, he's never actually flown anything in an atmosphere before, but
I'm sure he has.
Yeah, I'm sure they start cadets off in the atmosphere first.
What I don't understand is why they parked the fucking Bounty, in the park in the middle of the San Francisco Bay Park or whatever.
Yeah, and how did no one happen to...
It's a big empty field.
No Frisbee enthusiasts.
Kid has a soccer game that day.
For the record, Golden Gate Park is enormous. It's not. I don't think it's quite as big as Central Park in New York, but it's pretty goddamn big. And
which means it's always full of people.
Well, it's usually full of unscrupulous people.
It's even worse.
When you go to San Francisco, you are warned not to don't go into Golden Gate Park after dark because you will get.
What about during the day? There were joggers, and based on the garbage that was being collected, it's a very a very heavily trafficked area.
It's true.
But people with lots of garbage.
See, what they should have done is landed the Bounty on Alcatraz. And then just beamed to shore whenever they needed to.
That would have been really cool.
Who the fuck did they leave on the ship to do all the beaming of things?
Yeah, that was a thing. When Spock returns from getting dropped off before Kirk and What's-Her-Face go to dinner, he just walks to the ship and gets beamed up.
I mean, what you have to assume is someone had gotten back by then and gone on through the ramp.
I guess, yeah.
But it's right. Because they don't show that, it does seem weird.
Also, when they beam from the elevator in the hospital to just outside the ship, what was up with that?
They didn't want to let Jillian on board, maybe?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I recall...
She has to go back to her costume shop where she owns all those scrubs.
Some technical manual or something about Star Trek that the reason why site to site, because you might wonder why don't they always site to site transport? Why do they have to go to the transporter room when they could just be beam me from the bridge to the surface? But no, they always go to the transporter room, and the reason is that a site to site transport is actually two transports that you beam first to the transporter room.
So you're triangulating.
But you don't materialize. Yeah. So it beams you back, and then before you materialize, it initiates a second transport to wherever you're going. Oh. And it takes a lot more energy, and it occupies twice the transport buffers because you need to keep the person in both buffers until it completes. Otherwise, they would not materialize anywhere. So in that sense, considering their situation with the electricity on the ship and the radiation and the crystalline entity, they really should have just beamed them to the transporter room and save themselves that second transport. Secondly, they beam right outside the ship, and then they open the door to the ship, and McCoy and Chekhov walk on, and then they close the door, and then Kirk beams on. Why didn't he just say goodbye to his girlfriend and be like, all right, bye, I'm going to walk on the ship with these guys?
Close the door behind me.
Because that is the needs of the story outweighing sense and reality, so she could dive on him while he teleported.
Yeah, and there's another thing, lady. Come on. This is fucking future technology. You don't know it
could be a The Fly incident.
Exactly. You could get freaking genetically merged with Shatner.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Truly a fate worse than death.
Yeah, I mean...
Poor Shatner.
What did you get them? Well, what we got didn't last long.
No. Thankfully.
Seventh Heaven, starring Stephen Collins and a two-headed, four-armed monster composed of William Shatner and what's her name?
It would be Eric's. Yeah. That's how Eric's people came to be.
Oh, God.
They're just transporter accidents that evolved.
Well, definitely accidents, that's for sure.
Oh.
Womp womp.
I feel like I made lots of good points during the film when we were watching it. Now I can't remember anything I said.
That's why I take notes.
It's crazy. It's foolish.
So I pointed out a bunch of stupid shit.
Granted, my notes consist of things like, Walter, why are you shit at running? And why with these Vulcan hats?
Those Vulcan hats
were pretty good.
But also Spock has run out of hats and has to be a ninja with his stupid headband.
Yeah. I mean, he just went with the outfit better than any hat they could have found.
He could have gotten a new fucking outfit. Beam an outfit from the surface to his quarters, and then you can put on that.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Does McCoy have another of those coats? Because A, give it to me, and B, you can have Spock wear it for this episode.
Here's something I don't get about Vulcan, right? So it was implied at the end of 3 that they're going to Mount Sinai or whatever, the Holy Mountain on
Saleya.
Mount Saleya on Vulcan. So it makes sense that it's very remote and it's like, you know, it's not like there's nothing around. It's just like a temple, basically.
Yeah.
But my assumption would be that Vulcan is an advanced civilization. There should be like giant cities and futuristic shit.
Yeah.
So they're there for 2 months and they just hang out at Mount Saleya for 2 months?
Apparently, because they show it in the background.
Yeah, they never move the ship. They never go like, hey, Sarek, do you mind if we hang out in your cool geodesic dome house? You know, or like, hey, could you take us to the Gap? Because, come on.
No, we've been wearing these clothes for months.
Take us to the Gap.
Like, seriously. Fuck you, Vulcan. Like, that's probably the thing. Is like, they probably want the humans to think that this is what Vulcan is. It's like, we don't want them in our city.
Let's start a whole tourism industry.
Becoming tourists here, visiting on vacations.
Vulcan duck boats, but they don't have any water, so it's pointless.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, they even show in Yesteryear that Vulcan has city-like areas.
Weird, ugly cities.
Yeah, but they should have been able to buy some new clothes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. These guys have been wearing the same outfits for 2 months, and that ain't smart.
Chekhov got some
desert with no water, apparently.
Yeah. Chekhov got some new leather pants.
It's true.
I bet those were really good out in the desert with no water.
They were better in San Francisco looking for nuclear vessels.
That's true. Yeah, that outfit. Poor Walter, like...
Plus, you know it was pleather, not leather.
Probably.
Which breathes even less.
I read that the scene where the passers-by are going by and they're checking everybody for nuclear vessels was an improvised scene. They just had a bunch of extras walking back and forth. The extras weren't supposed to talk. The one woman that they do interact with who says like, oh yeah, I think those are in Alameda, ad-libbed it, and they had to like give her SAG status so that they could keep it in the film.
Yeah, because if you have a speaking line in a movie, you think you have to be a member of SAG.
You think she did that on purpose?
She's probably like, I can get some extra pay today.
I'm gonna Fran Drescher this shit. Fran Drescher is like one of the only people who was ever an extra who like became famous from their work as an extra. Is my understanding. Like she was extraing really hard, and they were like, let's just give her a part in this movie.
Interesting.
I liked the guy that played the cop. His stone face was good.
Yeah, it was very stern gentleman. So
Walter hurt himself.
Literally.
Wait, in real life or just in the film?
In the film.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, Jesus, did he get fucking hurt again?
Gave himself the brain
Koenig
damage.
really can't. Yeah, that whole scene is unfortunate. It's
the scene with him running through the USS Enterprise or another one, not the USS Enterprise.
Yeah, it's the USS Enterprise.
Well, it's supposed to be the Enterprise in the movie, but in reality, it was.
There's another boat.
The Sacramento?
I don't remember. It was
one
a
of the
different.
other ones.
It was a different because the Enterprise was actually on patrol at that point. And amusingly, the ship that was standing in for the Enterprise was actually not a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. It was whatever the hell they use when it's not nuclear.
Mice running in wheels.
Oh, dogs!
Oh no!
But yeah, they had
ellipticals.
yeah, they had it stand in as the Enterprise. There's that bit where they're just like, where Chekhov goes, "It's the Enterprise," and that was a terrible Chekhov. That was like Chekhov and Scotty's weird baby.
I don't know how he would say it. We just saw him do it.
I've already forgotten.
It's the Enterprise.
But
that's not good.
And Kirk kind of looks confused. He goes, "Understood." It's like, do you not remember the paintings or bad charcoal drawings from the rec room
deck
that showed like the old schooner and the aircraft carrier, dude? Like, you know exactly what that is.
Yeah, I like to imagine though, for a brief moment, Kirk was like, "God damn it, Chekhov, you've gone crazy. You literally entered 1A, 2B, 3C, 000, destruct 0 with me like a week ago. 3 months ago.
Why would he be concerned by that? He didn't give it a second fucking thought when Bones was sitting in Spock's room
That's true.
shouting about needing to go to Vulcan. I don't think Kirk is really all that concerned with the mental well-being of his crew.
That's true.
That's a good point.
So do you figure the reason Sarek was on Earth conveniently was to keep Starfleet or the Federation from extraditing the fuck out of Kirk and everyone else? Because I never thought of that till right now,
Yeah,
but it's
what
like...
is he doing there?
Vulcan is, a major member of the Federation, and it's clear they know Kirk and company are there.
So what exactly are the Klingons doing in that big conference?
Well, he's the ambassador to the Federation.
The Klingon guy?
Yeah.
So they're nice now.
Well,
No, they have ambassadors.
Christopher Lloyd even mentions in 3 that there are peace talks going on.
So why is Krug trying to disrupt all this peace?
Well, I think Krug might have been a rogue.
Krug has just gone rogue?
Yeah, I don't think he was...
Well, in that case, the Klingons should be answering for that.
Yeah, but...
And where's Carol Marcus in all of this to explain what the fuck is going on?
They've
Carol,
completely...
you cunt.
Yeah, she's
Wow.
been written out.
They've completely ditched her because the studio couldn't give a rat's ass. But yeah, I think, it's a fraught process, I'm sure. This guy probably thought maybe we can score some points this way, but, Sarek... Why Sarek had to mention, you guys killed people first? And everyone else was like, oh yeah, they did do that. It's like, Jesus, the Federation.
Crowd reaction scenes during that scene, like the... that was terrible.
Yeah.
Too much.
But yeah, no, I feel like it probably, I never thought about it before, but this time I was just like, wait a minute. They know where Vulcan is. They're a major member of the Federation. There's no reason they couldn't just send a ship to pick them up and be like, you're under arrest.
Well, maybe that's why they're hanging out at Mount Seleia, because it is remote and they're actually in hiding.
Yeah, that would work. But also, again, like I said, Sarah could be there kind of keeping them off for now. Because, and there is a certain amount of autonomy for Federation members, so I suppose there's still... He could be there to be helping with the whole... Not handover, but they are planning on going back. Maybe Sarek goes on ahead as all right, so they're coming. Let's all be friends. Kind of thing. It actually all sort of makes sense if you need it to. Because, again, it never even occurred to me before right now. Why didn't Starfleet just go and get them?
And why did they leave? Why? What is the in-world explanation for why Saavik was left behind on Vulcan? Because she's still a Starfleet officer.
Yeah,
right?
she's I'm staying here. Yeah, that's a good question.
Trauma from banging a baby.
Maybe. I guess the only explanation.
Pregnancy, right?
I guess that's the explanation that you could come up with, is that she's staying behind to give birth.
Yeah, they have Spock.
I don't know why they cut that reference so that they wouldn't have to follow up on it ever. Or, be like, Spock's a father now, this is a thing we have to deal with.
But here's the thing, for all we know, Spock is already a father because he tells so little about his personal life to any of his friends.
Did I mention I have an adopted sister? No. That's actually not that weird for him.
Yeah, we're going to find out soon that he has a brother.
Yeah.
That he never told anyone about.
Never mentioned. Vulcans don't talk about themselves.
They really don't.
Except in that episode, the Cloudminders, where he just opens up about Ponfar with that chick.
Oh, yeah. Weird.
Yeah, but that went on far enough.
Oh, no.
I do like the Klingon ambassador's version of events.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
About, Kirk, Kirk developed the
Doomsday
device,
Genesis
had his
device.
own son develop this for him, and so he could unleash it on the Klingon people. It's holy shit.
It's fucking fake news is what that is.
Yeah.
That does certainly sound like that's probably the version of events the Klingon people were given.
Absolutely, their version of Fox News.
Yeah, that is definitely...
But that's that's clever,
though. That's the Breitbart version of what happened.
Well, that's the whole Cold War, There's the version you give your people of what the devious Westerners or those filthy Ruskies did. So
He's a Ruskie.
That was a thing that really pissed me off too. More than just why didn't they have Sulu go and know where shit is in San Fran? They're fucking experts on the fucking eugenics wars that happened in 1996. They somehow forgot the Cold War. How long was that on? How did they forget that? How did Chekhov not know about the Cold War?
They do know about the Cold War because in Assignment Earth, they prevented it from becoming a hot war.
True.
So then, why would you send Chekhov to look for nuclear vessels?
Because it was supposed to be a quick in and out, like every experience with Chekhov.
The old in and out.
Wow.
Ah! Oh, poor Walter.
They also probably thought, all right, if we send Uhura with him,
he'll behave.
She will keep him from being an idiot and running up to people and going, "Can you tell me where nuclear vessels are?" It's like, damn it, Chekhov. I look away
No,
for 2
she
seconds.
was into it. She was like, yeah, where are the Wessels? Where the fuck is Almeida?
Yeah, she wasn't like, Chekhov, just let me do the talking here.
You think they banged at some point?
I hope so.
Or Chekhov just like kind of bored, like, I got time to kill.
Why not?
Used their $10 to get into a shady ass motel.
Oh, you mean during this movie?
I mean the characters, not the actors.
No, but you mean just specifically during this movie?
I mean, maybe this is where it started.
Because they definitely were banging at some point, because he takes her shopping.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He's carrying her bags around. If he puts in all that nice and doesn't get some sex out, he's really getting the shaft.
Oh my.
Well, she certainly isn't, at least not from him.
Anyway, just to clarify, that was deep sarcasm. Anybody that wants to think that I mean that, as I promise I don't. But I do think that they were in some sort of something at that point. Maybe just like shopping and fuck friends. Maybe they were never like dating. But it's the future, so maybe there aren't really a lot of labels in the future. Maybe there's just lots of fucking. Who knows?
Yeah, friends with benefits is just kind of so normal they don't even call it that anymore.
Yeah.
That was Ilea's culture.
Well, and especially actually when there's like 500 of you on a ship and you spend like 5 years together, probably everybody was fucking, and it probably did have to keep like fairly unemotional because.
Well, I mean, again, we're jumping timelines here, but at the opening of Beyond, Kirk does mention they're on a deep space mission for years. People do start fucking, although they are not unemotional about it because poor Chekhov gets shoved out of a room angrily.
Well, again, that's because he's so quick.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing though. That is why the development of holodecks is so important in Star Trek.
It really is.
Because you really can't have all that fucking, because A, that stinks the place up, and B, you get
accidental pregnancies,
and you can't
STDs.
Well, I'm sure they're all on various contraceptives while they're
God, yeah, think about how much easier like intended sterility will be in the future.
No, there's a novel series that I'm in the middle of reading. I think
I like where this is going.
No, it's by Hugh Howey. It's amazing. It's the Silo series where it's post-apocalyptic. Everybody lives in a silo in the earth, and they've lived there for so long that they don't even they don't
grain silo.
like a missile silo.
Like a missile silo, but upside down into the earth.
Okay, sure.
Well, that's how missile silos are. Missile silos are underground.
Oh, I'm thinking like a grain silo. Well, yeah, more like a missile silo.
Like where they launch the Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on. They live in a silo.
They live in a silo, and the important element, the relevant element is, as children, all the women are like temporarily sterilized, and when they hit a certain a certain age, and B, they get permission from the people who run the silo to, this is our chance to try to have a child. They undo it, they see if they can do it, get a child, and then they redo it again. So that it's controlling the population, so that it's a silo. There's no fucking room to make an extra dozens of kids.
Yeah. Anyway, Star Trek. Is there anything else?
We
we
put
have
all
to
my
cover?
notes.
God damn it! I really wish I could remember what else I said. I feel like I had some good salient points, and now I don't remember what they were. I was really mad about something.
Spock's jumped to the conclusion that they must be talking to whales. Let's go back and get a whale.
No, but that's a good point.
Well, I mean, being fair, he just thought, all right, some sort of sea creature.
Well, I think he skipped a couple of steps. He was like, what if they're not talking to people? Like, Spock, where the fuck did that come from? Oh, because of the water thing.
Well, the transmission
You
was
start
in
with
the
there.
oceans.
Start with that then. Connect the dots in the fucking order, or you're not going to make the picture. This no longer looks like a horse. It looks like a tornado.
A sharknado?
A sharknado.
It no longer looks like a
whale-nado.
horse. It looks like
A weedy
whale-nado.
Oh, no.
Kid.
You're all doing it now.
Yep.
It's like an infection. It just spreads.
What else happened in this film?
We just watched
Well,
it.
we got some of the most iconic Star Trek lines ever. Most people will know, dialysis. What is this? The Dark Ages and hello computer.
Oh, yeah.
And where are nuclear vessels? And double dumbass on you.
Double
Yes.
dumbass on you. It's a classic.
They are not the hell your whales.
The punk.
Oh yeah, the assault on the bus.
Yep, that actor apparently, I haven't seen it myself, but apparently appears as an aged punk, complete still with boombox, in the new Spider-Man film. So confirmed Star Trek
how new
takes
is the
place in the
Spider-Man
MCU. The one that just, Homecoming, the one that came out a couple of months ago.
The Voyage Home. Homecoming.
Holy shit.
I know, I've cracked the code.
Yeah, I love they got away with someone flipping the bird in a PG movie. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
It's also the closest we get to fuck you in Star Trek.
Also, the the conversation in Jillian's pickup truck. That whole conversation with Kirk and Spock.
About the pizza? About getting pizza?
About getting Italian
Do you like
food.
Italian? No.
Yes. No.
And you...
I love Italian, and so do you.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good, like, trying to remind Spock how people do things in this movie, which I love.
I want to know the story as to when Spock tried Italian and how he knows because he really clearly does not like Italian.
I mean, he didn't like it so much that he was just like, just drop me off.
Yeah.
Just
like,
I don't even want dinner
I
anymore.
wonder if that was Kirk was like, I can't deal with Spock anymore. He's still recovering. He doesn't get people.
No, more like he wanted to put Jillian in the bone zone. He didn't want Spock third wheeling it up with his weird bullshit.
Headband.
Which is too bad, because I would love to have seen Spock's reaction to Michelob.
This is not logical.
He'd probably love it. Son of a bitch.
Look, I'm from Vulcan. We actively enjoy things that make us sad.
Yes.
Or whatever. I've never had Michelob. Maybe I'm being unfair, but it's kind of fun to say.
It is fun to say.
Michelob. I mean, again, I'm no beer snob. I have enjoyed cheap beers.
But apparently, whatever they gave the actors to drink.
Yeah, no, they did not enjoy it.
Yo, what about this douchebag colleague of Jillian's?
Oh, yeah.
Who, like, kind of seems to want to, like, hit that, and then, like, sort of doesn't understand why she's upset that they take the whales in the middle of the night.
Well, he's constantly negging her.
Yeah.
Why did they take the whales in the middle of the night?
To avoid a media circus.
Wouldn't an aquarium want a media circus? Because that's how you make fucking...
Yeah, you get some money for
publicity.
that shit.
I think, yeah.
Also, raise awareness for...
Yeah, awareness for
Yeah.
whale issues.
Yeah, no,
Give us
especially,
some
I mean...
money.
Because think of the fucking news story, right? So they would do a big media circus for the whales being released.
Yep.
Announce then Gracie is pregnant, maybe.
And then the very next day, you find out that they've been caught by whalers up by Alaska. Huge outcry. Public would have eaten that up.
Not that they would have necessarily known that was going to happen, but...
Yeah, but they would have figured it out. I mean, because if the crew of the Enterprise didn't intervene, they would have got caught
whaled.
by those
Like, right away.
Yeah.
Man, and how
Good
about
job.
some of that fucking footage that they used of them actually being, like, cutting up whales? Do we think...
That was unpleasant.
I know, Ames, you're sort of our research guru. Was there any effect on, like, what conservation efforts were being made for whales because of this movie? Like, did anything like that come out of it?
I mean...
I feel like it must have, because I feel like I grew up knowing that we have to save the whales, right? Like, doesn't save the whales sound like a familiar thing to you guys as well?
Yeah, well, of course it is. But I don't know if it was because of this movie or if this movie was a result of Save the Whales.
I would love to know.
I'd say the latter, but...
Yeah. That stuff was still going strong by the time I was in elementary school. And
Yeah,
it was
Save the Whales was
a couple
big.
of years later.
Yeah. I don't know the timeline off the top of my head of like how whaling industry has been affected by things, but
Yeah.
I'm
I
curious.
mean, this was definitely the Star Trek movie with the conservation message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which feels very Nimoy-esque to me. No, wait, Nimoy didn't do this one, did he?
yes, he
He
did.
did.
He directed it.
Okay.
Yep.
So you mentioned Nicholas Meyer. Did he just do the screenwriting?
Yeah, he did some screenwriting.
Oh, okay.
So
He
basically,
did the middle chunk when they went back in time.
all the best Star Trek movies involve Nicholas Meyer is the lesson here.
Is he on 6?
Yep.
Okay.
He
Just
writes
have
and
to see
directs
6.
again, so...
And Nimoy got such a good performance out of Bill because he respected him so much.
Also because it was a comedy and he kind of embraced Bill's like quirkiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like one of the few times when I didn't feel like Shatner really did anything that was that cringeworthy. There was some weird.
Or there was
like,
his reaction. His reaction when Spock was in the tank. You specifically called that as very cartoonish.
Oh yeah, because
Like-
he was just like clapping his hands to his face and like, but I loved it. Like it felt right. Like what would you do if your fucking crazy best friend was in the whale tank in his skivvies? I think that was the correct reaction.
Fair enough.
Maybe they're singing to that man.
Love that woman.
Now, I'm trying to remember, are there other times when the mind meld is like a two-way conversation? I feel like it's usually...
They talk... Doesn't he talk to that... Isn't that amoeba cloud thing in the animated series?
Oh, I don't remember.
Or is that sort of just talking through him?
That was nothing was talking because we could hear its voice.
I mean, the thing is, thoughts are always shared, so it's not too much of a stretch to say they could create a conversation out of it.
That's true. I always just felt like usually when you see the mind meld, he's like more
Doesn't
or less
he-
reading the mind.
Doesn't
of
he
the other
converse
thing.
with the Horta?
No,
Don't they actually have
I thought he
Pain,
just-
pain.
Yeah, I think he just said pain,
Oh, I
and he
thought-
realized what the Horta's problem was.
Oh, okay, I thought they had a...
But maybe he did. Maybe they did because then they got the Horta to agree to dig tunnels for them.
Yeah.
So they must have had to talk.
And the Horta picked up English.
That's
was
true.
able to
It
write them a
It
message.
did know how to say
No kill I.
no kill I.
And it certainly
How do you
wasn't
feel?
necessarily quite as plain a conversation as we think of it, because he does mention, he was pretty sure he was able to get across their intention.
Yes.
So it wasn't quite as direct.
Picturing the Horta, instead of writing no kill I, it writes Kirk is a jerk.
They read it in Spock's mind.
Oh my god, I want someone to go back and
CGI.
yeah, Photoshop that shit. I would love to see that. Oh,
His grammar's gotten better.
oh sorry, Kirk is jerk.
No.
Kirk our jerk.
Kirk are jerk, just the letter R.
Aw.
Somehow the Horta has learned to understand that we can use letters for words like that, even though
And that's got an emoji frowny face at the end. Kirk R. jerk frowny face.
more like laughing, crying face.
Or that.
James
Poop emoji.
James Doohan was on fire this movie.
What was he doing?
What was he doing?
A lot.
He had the best lines of this movie, I think.
Yes.
Everything he said was gold.
And he and Bones were fantastic when Bones is like, I told him that you were coming to visit. They didn't seem to know anything about it. And Scotty is all like, oh, they didn't know about me visit. Oh, God. He's
Came
like,
millions of miles!
thousands of miles.
The two of them together are amazing.
It was wonderful. I love them together so much.
I kind of like that no one questioned why this supposedly Scottish engineer has an American Southern assistant
Yes.
who refers to Edinburgh as home for himself as well. Like,
Well, you
Could've
could be
moved there.
expat.
no, I know, it's still just kind of funny though. Don't bury yourself in the role.
I do like how, when they're doing the famous computer scene, it's McCoy that hands him the mouse to talk into. McCoy's like, oh, obviously you're talking to the mouse.
And they're both so pleased with the revelation.
yeah.
Hello, computer.
The keyboard. How quaint.
I love the look on his face when he says, hello, computer.
Yay.
James Doohan gives such great face in these movies, all the time. And he has, again, some of the greatest lines in this film.
Yeah.
Because he's, there be whales here. But there was something at the beginning as well that was really good.
Reading Klingon is hard.
Yeah.
Swapped out the Klingon food packs. They were giving me a sour stomach. That's what that was.
And then he also takes a dig at Kirk being overly emotional or something.
Yeah.
He's very emotional, isn't he? Oh, what the fuck else is new?
Gold star for James Doohan.
So, the computers in the original series, at least, and we don't really see a lot of them interacting too much with the computer in the movies.
Not much, yeah.
But they're often interacted with. I don't remember them really ever interacting with the computer verbally. They're always using switches and buttons and stuff.
No, there was okay, so during Wolf in the Fold, aren't they computer, look up, brr, 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 brr. There's lots of voice command.
Was there?
Yeah, but you're right, though, in that there is a decent amount of voice command, but they also do often access information. I feel like talking to the computer a shitload doesn't kick in until TNG.
Well, yeah, in
Whereas
TNG,
in TOS, there is a more even mix of accessing information by talking to it and accessing information by pushing buttons.
yeah, I just don't feel like the keyboard would have been that foreign a concept for Scotty.
Yeah. Certainly, Mac OS
Well,
1
yes.
or whatever that was not a foreign concept to
Yeah,
him.
he
certainly.
definitely. Now that's the thing. That was pretty good product placement for the Mac, I think.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Macs had to have been fairly new on the scene when this movie came out.
Well, but Macs never got big until a lot later either anyway.
They were pretty big, I think, in the 80s.
Were they?
Yeah.
Nowhere near as
Wasn't
big as
the
they
first?
are now,
Wasn't the
obviously.
first big budget Super Bowl commercial the one that was for the
Oh,
Mac?
the 1984 Mac one, I think so.
Yeah, with the sledgehammer girl.
Yeah.
Anything else relevant to our journey today? Because I have to pee soon.
Oh, I think we're good. We've journeyed home.
Yeah, no, we
Good voyage, everyone.
yes. Yes, the story begun with Star Trek II is wrapped up now.
And now we have...
Baby fucking wheels.
See, I don't share your love of 6, Chris. So the next two movies for me are there's nothing good left for me in this series.
Well, 6 though is certainly better than 5.
So is being shot in the foot. Like.
Well, fair enough. With that bombshell, this has been A Star to Steer Her By, episode 53. Thank you very much for joining us. Please do find and like our Facebook page. We are on Twitter and Tumblr as SSHB Podcast. Do please subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting application. And if you use or at least have iTunes, please consider giving us a rating and a review. For A Star to Steer Her By, this has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is always Jake.
Thank you very much for listening.
Be sure to tip your baby
fucking wheels!
Double dumbass on you.
I'm glad we both did that.
Oh, they are very pleased with themselves.
That wasn't planned.
It wasn't.
We just knew.
We have a psychic link. God, yeah, think about how much easier, like, intended sterility will be in the future.
They probably just beam all the eggs right out of the women and, like, beam
Into
out the guy's
space.
nuts.
Yikes. There's a good
empty scrotum.
Well, they don't beam in fake nuts.
Oh, okay.
there's an industry that does that for dogs.
Yes, there is.
It's weird.
Yeah, yeah, because you got to remove them to fix them.
There's a whole industry that does that for pickup trucks too.
You're
That was
unfamiliar.
really good.
I have no
You've
idea.
never
what
seen
you're talking
pickup
You-
truck
you've
nuts?
never seen
They're
the
so
scroll?
about. Oh,
stupid.
I have. Okay, yes, those.
They're so stupid.
I'm sorry.
Intensely stupid.
Yeah.